What's good, guys? Today we'll be taking an in-depth look into my boy Winter Soldier. We'll be talking about how his abilities work and how you can get the most out of them, and hopefully help you guys get a better understanding of him. And I also think he requires a good bit of skill despite him only being a 3-star difficulty hero. I've been predominantly spamming him in solo queue, and I personally feel like Bucky's ability to carry games is probably one of the best. So let's take a look at his abilities. Starting with his bread and butter, his main way of dealing damage, Roterstern. Bucky will shoot an explosive projectile that does a lot of damage and also explodes in a small cone that goes behind the poor soul that got hit, meaning if someone stands behind them in that small cone, they'll get a bit of splash damage, which makes this pretty devastating if people start grouping up. Other than that, his gun has 3 rounds in the magazine, and you should get comfortable with that number because this will be important when I mention the passive later on. Now let's move on to his first ability, Trooper's Fist, a short range dash that goes into an uppercut and sets you up for an easy hit with your primary fire. This ability is also able to push and uppercut multiple people. This is kind of Bucky's thing since he's got amazing AoE potential. And his next ability, Tainted Voltage, charges up a punch that sends a projectile forward, passing through all enemies within the projectile's range. Any enemies hit take moderate damage and are also slowed. And this projectile also brings down anyone who is in a flying state, which is a nice little thing to have, but I've never seen a storm ever being played. I don't know about you guys. And any good Iron Man player is way too far back to ever get hit by this. But if you ever catch one lacking, you know, it's a free kill. So that's a good thing to have. His next ability, Bionic Hook, as you might have guessed, is a hook type ability that can be charged up to go further. This is your main way of punishing overextended targets. Landing the hook is extremely deadly since they'll be stunned while you pull them towards you, and they'll also be stunned for a little bit after they get to you. And the hook is also able to grab multiple people. Like I said earlier, Bucky has great AoE potential, so keep that in mind while playing him. So basically, this sets you up for free damage and even easy kills on squishy targets. I bet you're probably starting to see the vision by now, but stay with me because now we're moving on to what I think is the most fun to use ability in this game, and that ability is called Kraken Inpackt. It's absolutely crazy, so let me break it down for you guys. When Bucky activates Kraken Inpackt, he leaps into the air. When activated again with his primary fire, Bucky slams into the ground, dealing damage and also debuffing enemies hit with culling. This means that anyone will be executed if their health bar reaches the culling threshold. Anyone that gets executed also resets his ultimate cooldown, allowing you to go again and again and again and again and again. I promise you, this ability is just pure dopamine, and I love it. Up next is his passive Ceaseless Charge. Now I need you guys to lock in. This is the most important part of his kit. What his passive does is every time you use an ability, including your ultimate, you'll automatically reload your gun and gain bonus health. This is what makes everything flow so well on this hero. So to break it down further for you guys, you want to be shooting 3 times and use an ability to reload your gun. This way you minimize your downtime. I'll go into more detail with tips and tricks later on though. Now let's move on with team ups. First up, for some of you that might not know, you gain an extra ability or passive when certain heroes are on the same team. I think this mechanic is unique and it adds a layer of depth to the game, which is a good thing in my opinion. As of Season 0, Winter Soldier only has 1 team up, and that's with Rocket Raccoon. The ability is called Infinite Grid. This is a totem Rocket gains as an extra ability that he can place down, and this totem buffs Winter Soldier's gun massively, basically making his gun shoot faster, giving him infinite ammo and not needing to reload within the area of effect. This team up is absolutely insane. You'll be able to absolutely shred anything unlucky enough to be in your field of view. I recommend just spamming your shots as long as the totem is up, because you'll simply lose out on damage if you try and weave in abilities. Now that you guys understand all of the abilities, let's talk about how you want to play Bucky and some additional tips and tricks later on. The way Bucky should be played is as a brawler who plays up front with his tanks, preferably one with a shield to give you an extra layer of protection while you're looking for hooks on high priority targets. But what I love the most about Bucky is that he's extremely versatile when needed. He can basically 1v1 any hero in the game. So if there's an enemy threat that needs to be taken out and your other DPS can't do it, you can simply do it yourself. Did you notice how I said high priority target instead of specifying support? Yeah, let me explain myself. So the main reason why most of the time you don't want to hook tanks is because they most likely won't die since the support will simply heal them. Now there are two ways to get around this issue. Bucky and Groot are a match made in heaven since he can put a wall up after you pull an unsuspecting tank in. This resorts into a free kill most of the time since supports need a direct line of sight to heal. I'll explain the second way of getting around this issue while talking about combos. So let's start with the basic stuff and slowly move up from there. After hitting a hook on your enemy, hold down your fire input. This will buffer the input and it allows you to shoot as soon as the pull animation is finished. After hitting your hook, you'll get 2 free shots. If you hit them both in the body, you go into the punch and then another shot. Most squishies like Luna Snow, Mantis, and Rocket Raccoon will die within 2 body shots and a punch. Slightly beefier opponents like Punisher will eat 2 body shots, a punch, and a body shot, and that'll be enough to take him out. Now just to make sure that we remember, the hook and the punch both guarantee shots. The hook guarantees 2 on non-mobile characters and 1 on a mobile character, and the punch guarantees 1 on every character. Now, since most of the time you'll probably be sitting on the front line with your tanks, all you want to do is try and get your ulti up as fast as you can by laying into the tanks. And the cycle I use to achieve that as fast as possible is simple. You fire 3 shots, E, fire 3 shots, punch, fire 3 shots, pull. Now remember, on characters that can dash away like Black Panther and Spider-Man, you can probably only get 1 shot off. So what I try and do is pull him in, get that shot off, and immediately go into a punch to try and stun lock him as long as I possibly can. Now let's move over to this next tech. Bucky can actually pull someone in and punch him back into his team. Once you get proficient enough with this tech, you won't even need a Groot to get these picks, further elevating your Bucky gameplay. All you gotta do to pull off this tech successfully is walk backwards while pulling your enemy and step to the opposite side you want to punch him in. So for example, if you want to punch him to the right, you walk back and walk to the left. If you want to punch him to the left, you walk back and walk to the right. But what I love the most about Bucky is that he's extremely versatile when needed. He can basically 1v1 any hero in the game. So if there's an enemy threat that needs to be taken out and your other DPS can't do it, you can simply do it yourself. A big mistake I see a lot of Bucky players make, including myself, is overheating with the ultimate or just straight up diving into the backline. The ultimate kinda turns you into a dive hero, and I know it's really tempting to just ult the backline, but you gotta understand that Bucky's ultimate is very easy to counter or peel. Once you go in, you will not be able to get out. So I recommend paying extra attention to any support ults that can hard counter you. So what I'm basically saying is that you'll have to develop a sense for when to ult and when not to. So don't be afraid to just limit test and find out what the limits are. And that concludes my guide. Please, if I have missed anything, let us know in the comment section below. And if you made it this far into the video, I really appreciate you. It means the world to me. I did take a long time making this video, so I would really appreciate all of the support. If you've got any tips of your own, drop those down below as well. Let's try and share the knowledge under us Bucky mains, you know? Let's try and get this ball rolling. Anyway, with all that being said, a like and a sub would be very, very much appreciated. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Can't take back what happened, you gon' reap what you sow, nigga. Got a lot of pain, lot of rage in my soul, nigga. I like the way that it's making me feel.